Hello, hello, beautiful people, and welcome to another edition of The Professional Fan. I am your host, The Professional Fan, Mike Antonace, and joining me this evening is the main star of the channel, Joseph Latman. Joseph, how you doing this fine evening?
I'm doing good, brother. How are you? I'm excited. It's football weekend's back again. Here we go. Got a game going on right now. We got the Dolphins and the Bills, and then we got high school football tomorrow night. Me and the professional fan have been going on more high school games. Well, I've been going. We got Mike coming now, and Ohio State's off Saturdays, so I'm bummed out about that. But we got Browns
Wow.
football on Sunday, so going to get into that.
Absolutely. We're going to get right into it. Tonight, this is kind of where we are with the Cleveland Browns. We're going to give you a game preview, and then we're going to do a super duper early mock draft. Way too early, but here we're 0-2. The Browns haven't scored 20 points yet this season, and it just looks bad. So naturally, we're all moving into next year. A quick live update of the Thursday night game if you're joining us. The Bills and the Dolphins are tied 14 flat apiece right now. But let's get right into a quick game preview as the Cleveland Browns have their second home game of the season, visiting Green Bay Packers are taking on the Cleveland Browns led by Joe Flacco. And Joseph, last week, Flacco, I think we can both agree, though who's a Kevin Stefanski apologist most of the time, admitted Kevin did not call a good or even okay game. I thought he had a pretty piss poor game plan for the Ravens. But even that still, I think there were a lot of plays left on the field, and I think it was mainly because of Joe Flacco's age. I think it's limiting their playbook, and I think that's going to cause some problems throughout the season as long as he's under center. I expect that to show against Green Bay with that very aggressive defensive front. Kind of reminds me of the Cleveland Browns defensive front because of all the weapons they have. Rashawn Gary, obviously Michael Parsons, Devontae Wyatt. Just a bunch of guys everywhere that can cause havoc. Not to mention Quay Walker, who's an excellent blitzer. Just a solid defense all around. And I think it's going to be a problem for Mr. Flacco. I think our defense should hold up well against the Packers. Their receivers are a little bit more talented or more well-rounded, I guess you could say, than the Ravens. So that'd be interesting to see how the corners respond. But I fully plan on the Browns losing this game. I expect the Packers to score over 20 points. So probably Packers, we'll say 24. Browns 17 seems to be a sweet spot for them. But here's what I want to ask you before I want to get your opinion on the Browns-Packers game as well. But I also want to ask a question after you give your take if you want to answer. If Flacco looks horrendous in the first half, do they think about putting Dylan Gabriel in?
Well, I'll answer the question first. I think if he has a bad game, if it's like last week, and remember last week when they got down, what was it, 35-10? That's when they pulled Flacco, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, if it gets to that point by that time of the game, then yeah, I think you would. But I don't think it's going to get to that point by that time of the game. I don't think we'll see Dylan Gabriel this week yet. I think they're taking their time with him, when they feel ready to put him out there. And I got a couple opinions on that. I think, after the show or on our show, was a Sunday night after the game, because I saw the same thing with Flacco. He looked pretty slow getting out of the, some of his bootlegs and stuff. But, I listened to an old coach on the Browns staff kind of break it down, and, he said that he was on the coaching staff back in 23 when they went on that run, and he just said, I don't think Kevin's calling the same plays that he called for Flacco back then. That the offense is actually a little different now, and you can tell it is because we've been sitting there like, I don't see the same running scheme I saw that year. You know what I mean, in terms of constant like gap scheme and stuff, and that year they took a lot more shots down the field too. We haven't really seen a whole lot of shots down the field this year so far.
Yeah, not yet.
I can't think of any. I think the furthest pass we've seen is like 20 yards. So I have not seen them throw a 1-9 ball down the field yet, or even try to use a bond and try to run them at the safeties to split the safeties and stuff. You're going against a lot of cover too. You want to run them at the safeties and open things up. And I just haven't seen a whole lot. I just think he pointed out Flacco's better throwing the ball downfield, even at his age. I mean, he's still got an arm. You can tell. We saw in week 1 he was able to thread some of those passes. I just think a lot of this kind of just dink and dunk, shoot, quick shoot offense. It's just not really fitting what we have. It just hasn't worked. I think it's just been kind of doink. You know what I mean? It's just been kind of bland and basic. And I think, we're asking Flacco to try to do things where you need a mobile quarterback in that type of offense to do what they're trying to do. I think somebody who can get out of the perimeter more, especially that offensive line right now. That offensive line is, trying to find its identity again, and they're older. But I think they're just having that instability in that room last year. At one point at the end of the season, Mike Vrabel, defensive guy, is coaching the offensive lineman. That's how unstable that room was last year. So, and you see a lot of those habits. I think still they're trying to break out of. I think Mike Bloomgren will get it fixed, but it might take a little bit. Like it's going to take some time, I think, to fix up that offensive line and just go through. Get all those things fixed and hatched out. And then last week too, you got DeJuan Jones. That whole thing. That I think what did he say? He didn't know why he came out, and then they were saying today, Mary Kay heard today said they took him out for heat reasons and stuff. And Denzel was out with cramps that game too. It's like that's the whole thing with Coach Aguero. We had on the world-class trainer we've had on this show on this channel many times, and he talks about prep all the time. I even asked him about that today too, and his reply to me was I'll read it to you real quick because I sent him the clip that Mary Kay said today, talking about how it was basic medical practice to try to get him off the field and prevent him from or help him in the heat. But he told me, he goes, I stopped saying this hydration thing is easy. He said it's rocket fuel science formula hard. He said unless there's a medical necessity, why take an athlete out of a game? Prepare. And so that was his thoughts on that. That's from a world-class trainer who does this stuff every day for a long time. Has many guys in the NFL. So I that whole situation was bizarre. I know Zach Jackson said today he thought DeJuan got benched basically because of his poor performance, but maybe. But that offensive line is really thin, Mike. I mean, KT Livingston's more of a project, young guy. Cornelius Lucas is 36 years old and has been a career backup. That offensive line right now is not very stable. I mean, even the interior, I think Wyatt and Joel have been the best two linemen, more consistent, but Joel looks a little older, getting out on the poles and stuff and screens. And, Wyatt, I think, has the highest motor and the most consistency, but he'll give up some plays here or there. But I think Wyatt's okay. But I just think as a group, I can't single out one person. When I broke down the all 22, a lot of their film is just kind of, bad communication, bad technique, too high. I think they stayed up too high a lot on a lot of their blocks, especially in pass protection. And sometimes in the running game, it's like we're going to the right assignment, putting a hat on the right guy, we can't open up the holes consistently, So I think with all that being said, I don't know. This isn't the time, I think, to put a rookie quarterback in right now. I think you need to get some more stability in the running game, in the line of scrimmage. But I think in 2 weeks, though, I think I'd probably give it 2 more weeks because it is actually an adjustment. You got to remember, Gabriel's a left-handed quarterback. So that is actually an adjustment because your whole offense is flipped. Everything everything you do with a right-handed quarterback, you're flipping it now with a left-handed quarterback. And that's different for the receivers too. The receivers, you guys can answer, and I've heard a couple say. I heard a quarterback yesterday, AJ McCarron, was on Coach JB's show, and he was talking about it. And they said that's a real thing. Like he's talked to many wide receivers that say, man, that's actually an adjustment. Like the way the ball comes at different angles on certain routes, like that's a whole adjustment putting him out there for the long term, I think. And really, well, not just long, but even just now, you know what I mean? And just, I think It's something over time that those guys will have to adjust because you're flipping your whole playbook. And instead of booting, we've booted Joe outright a lot. I've noticed. I don't know if you noticed that. I think a lot
Yeah.
of the I've seen have been outright with, Gabriel. They're going to be flipping it going left. So I would, based off what they've been doing with Joe, they're going to flip it. So I think I would give that time. I wouldn't rush it, but I think it's going to come sooner than people probably thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think it should be sooner rather than later. Get these young guys out there, and I know he was
Well,
only out there for a
what's the
couple
point of
plays.
but what's the point of keeping if this is the same results keep going up, Mike, after I give it to the London game. If they
Yeah,
come back if they fly back from the pond over the pond and it's the same results, Mike, what are we doing? What's the point of
yeah.
keeping
There's no point in having Flacco
like
out there. Just start
you got
evaluating the young guys, see if
yeah,
you have something.
yeah, you have 2 first round picks. I will say though, I think they're trying to be very calculated in how they go about it. Because I think they're trying to send the message to some of those veterans in that locker room that they're trying to win. And I'm just curious, like as soon as they start, as soon as they make that switch, what's a guy like Myles Garrett going to think? Because I don't know. I'm just really curious to see how he'll react to that personally.
Yeah, I mean, he had to have seen it coming or some semblance of this coming. I mean, when you draft 2 quarterbacks, you have Joe Flacco and Miles signs what is essentially extends his contract for 7 years, which is, let's be honest, Miles is 30. If he finishes his contract, he'll be 37 years old. I don't know how many defensive ends have played at 37, but I
How
bet
old's
it's
Von
not.
Miller?
Huh? He's mid 30s, I think.
Yeah, I think Garrett could do it. He hasn't had any major
Oh
injuries.
yeah, no. To get Miles Garrett has the ability. I just don't know. That's something that it's like, okay, after this, there is not another contract.
Has he
Like
had any
he's
major
going.
injuries? I don't think he has.
No, he's never had any real big injuries outside of his sophomore season. He was out.
Well, he got suspended. He swung the helmet.
I thought he was injured. Maybe it was his rookie year.
Maybe his rookie year, or
Yeah,
maybe
his rookie year, he only played like 10 games.
well, the guy flipped the card and still played that week. So I mean, guy's fucking durable as all hell. Oh, excuse me, I mean the cuss. Guy's durable as all. Sometimes I think we're still talking on the phone. Guy's durable, but I mean, look at
But
him. He's
yeah,
like freaking the Hulk.
yeah. So, I mean, Miles knew what the deal was. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if he truly knew or thought that they were going to win a bunch of games this year. I think Miles is much smarter than that. I understand having confidence in the guys around you, but he had to have known what it was with the quarterback situation and
I
a
think he
bunch of
did.
key roles on the team. Your running back room, your
Yeah.
wide receiver room, your tight end room. It's all changing.
I think he did, but I just not to play devil's advocate, but I've heard this out on the internet. Not understand, but I've heard it discussed, even by people in the media. That I'm just curious. I'm not saying I'm saying this is what I think is going to happen or anything. I'm just curious what you think of this notion out there, which could be true. You never know. You never know nowadays. So, that Myles Garrett has a no trade clause in his contract, and that he got the guaranteed money, and that what if the Browns said, "Hey, Miles, we'll get you paid." And then maybe if we're not at a certain point by midseason, we'll trade you to where you want to go. Could you see that possibility? I don't think it's a crazy scenario personally.
it's not, but
Because
the
you don't
way
know
his
with the way guys are nowadays. They're not, and I don't blame Miles if he wants. I mean, I get it. The guy's tired of the same stuff, but I don't think it's a crazy scenario.
not crazy, but the way his contract is structured, it would be very hard to figure out. Miles would have to essentially the trade Miles feasibly for the team without setting the team back another 3 years would to be he would have to play 3 years. So
Yeah.
this season, next season, season after, and then you can feasibly trade Miles Garrett. just the way his contract is currently structured, and
Yeah,
with
and
the way
I've just heard that notion out. I'm just curious if you heard
yeah,
it
no, I
yourself. I
mean,
just wanted to bring it up because I think I mean, here it's sad that we're even talking about it because of where we are. I mean, again, it's
yeah,
only 2 weeks, but there's not a lot of promise I've seen in 2 weeks. I mean, I get the Bengals game. I thought we competed a lot harder. I thought Joe threw the ball a lot better.
oh, much
You know,
better.
but they just even the way they lost that game, it's like we always find a way to lose, and we always shoot ourselves in the foot. And then to see the performance this week, it's just like you look at that roster, you look at how a lot of their moves in the offseason, how going back to the draft, they traded off number 2 to get that got Mason Graham, who I think is going to be looks great, and I think is taking that defense to another level. It's amazing when you have what I said last year, when you have a real 3 tech, how it can just change your whole defense. They have him, but they got that first round pick. You know what I mean? And you hear a lot of these reporters this year, people with inside saying it's all about the draft, all about you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So we know what time it is. That's why we're talking about this. That's why we're doing a way too early mock draft tonight because that seems to be where their mind is. You know what I mean? And
yep,
now, I mean, ODOT did approve the stadium today, so I think that's
yep.
their
Oh, that's
other.
some other news. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was their other, big big goal is that in the upcoming draft. So they got that down. I think they're, now they're just getting ready for this draft coming up. Mainly, I'm talking about ownership group. I mean, we'll see what he does at the end of the season with his decisions, but I don't know. I mean, going back to I gotta get my thoughts on the game real quick though. For move on, I think the game Sunday. I mean, here the Packers might be the best team in football right now. What they score 50. So how many points they score in the Lions? 52 or something like that. It
I
was a
do
lot.
not remember the score off the top of my head. I did not watch that game.
I think they scored like 50 something on the Lions. There was a blowout, and the Lions scored 50 something last week. Let me pull that up real quick. But I mean, again, you got a team that's rolling right now, 2 weeks into the season. Or no, I don't know what the hell that was. Somebody said something today. I don't know what they were talking about. Oh no, the Lions scored 50 something. That's what I'm thinking. I'm sorry.
Oh,
No,
the
they beat.
Bears Lions game is what you were thinking of.
So I was thinking of that. I knew it was the Lions or the Packers scored 50 something points recently. No, the Packers won that game though, 27-13. And our buddy Chris, who's a Lions fan, he said that game went really close. And then they got the Packers Commanders last week, and they beat the Commanders by 27-18. So I mean, they're rolling right now. Their offense is clicking. Their defense looks really good. It might be. I mean, is there a defense right now, Mike? Do you think it's been more well rounded through 2 weeks? Like all three, like secondary, linebacker, and front than the Packers. They're pretty damn good.
Yeah, they're very good. I'd say they are weak at corner. I'd say that's their only like glaring weakness, but because they're kind of like the Browns, they have
Yeah.
uh
One hole, but
um
their front's very excellent.
yeah, so essentially exactly. So whereas the Browns corners are fine, and then they're like, and I'm only saying the Browns corners are just fine because outside of Denzel Ward, who's a superstar, everybody else is okay to decent. Um, and then our safeties are just decent. Now, I will say the Packers have a superstar safety in Xavier McKinney, but the rest of their secondary is very young, still learning, making mistakes.
Yeah.
But otherwise, their defense is extremely well rounded. I mean, you have Edgar and Cooper, who I loved coming out of South Carolina as linebacker, Quay Walker, their former first round pick, who was part of that Georgia Bulldogs national championship game, Devontae Wyatt. I mean, is just an excellent defensive tackle. And their pass rush outside of it's like the Browns and the Packers, in my opinion, that have the best pass rush duo. They have Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary. We have Myles Garrett, Isaiah McGuire, and Isaiah McGuire's very quietly one of the better pass rushers in the NFL right now. Um, but yeah, it's going to be fun to see. Unfortunately for the Browns, the Packers' offense isn't just anemic.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I think we statistically we are the best rushing defense right now, and I think it shows on tape. Teams are having a hard time running the ball against us. I think we're able to take the run away, right? I think if we can do that, I think the game plan for the Browns, honestly, Mike, would be if I were in charge, I would. You got Junkins back last week. You got 3 backs you can use. I would run the ball at them vertically often as I can and run at them because their edges, obviously, you're going to run into Parsons right at the edge. Some people would say run at Parsons, which you can. I mean, you can mix it up, but I would try to run the ball more vertically because remember, they removed their interior guy in the trade. So, was it Kenny?
Kenny Clark.
Yeah, they traded him out. So that was he was their 3 tech, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so they traded him out. I would run the ball at the middle and see what I'd try early on to see what that looks like and then make adjustments off of that. But I'd run the ball at them vertically. I'd try to make an effort to run the ball. And I want to see Joe really take some more shots downfield. Because I think if you run the ball at them, and then eventually if you're effective running the ball, which I think at home the Browns should be able to run the ball a little better. I think they got to. I mean, I get the offensive line's had its issues, but what I saw from Juckins last week was very encouraging. I want to see Dylan Sampson back more effective this week. I thought he had a pretty good week 1. I thought Jerome Ford ran the ball decently last week, so why not use all 3, in my opinion, and just rotate them out and try to ride the hot hand, whoever gets hot, and I would run the ball more vertically. And run it on the outside a little bit. I'd probably maybe call. I'd like to see Isaiah Bond a little more utilized. Let's get Isaiah Bond on a sweep. Let's get Isaiah Bond on a sweep. You know what I mean? Just a run like that. Like make them play not only up the middle vertically with your backs, but try use your other guys side to side. You know what I mean? To try to get them off balance, try to get them to adjust. And then I think that'll open up more of those shots downfield. I think we need to be a little more. Our margin for error and losing is very thin. So, and winning or losing a game. So we need to be. I think the offense, in my opinion, needs to be a little more calculated, a little more creative than what we've seen recently. I want to see more of that. I want to see Isaiah Bond on a jet sweep. I want to see him use more. I want to see more gap scheme at the middle. Let's see if we can open up that line and get our guys in space. I think Quitjon Juckins has a little juice. He can get 4 or 5 yards if he gets rolling. Let's see that. I want to see Dylan Sampson more. Let's get him more involved than we did last week. First week 1, he looked great. Last week, I didn't feel like I really saw him a whole lot last week, Mike. And not the ways I didn't see him like, week 1, it was like if nothing was available downfield, you hit the check down, he's getting you still 4 yards or 5 yards. He was automatic. I want to see more of that. Use more of him out there in the check downs. When we brought him in last week, I brought up the film. We had him in there pass blocking, and he's he's 5'8". And, he is 200 something pounds, but he's only 5'8". We had him trying to pass block Roquan Smith.
Yeah, that was a little silly.
Yeah, it's like, how about we use Jerome in those situations for pass blocking? He's a little thicker and bigger guy and just a better pass blocker than Dylan. And let's use Dylan more and what we were using for Jerome for last week on checkdowns. You know what I mean? Like, how about we reverse the roles? I want to see more of that. I think the tight ends, especially Njoku needs to get rolling. So far this year, only 7 receptions, 77 yards. I don't think he hasn't had a touchdown yet. It's time. I think it's time for Njoku to get rolling. I think this is a good week for him. I think the middle of the field is going to be open in this game. They're playing against Jeff Hafley's the DC for the Packers. He was the Ohio State DC in 19 when we had Chase Young and went on that run. So I remember watching him a lot. He runs a 4-3 scheme primarily, but he likes to mix it up. Now, I think you'll get a lot of – I think the middle of the field, there should be a lot of yak for Njoku this week, in my opinion. If we can get the ball to him and get him more in the middle of the field, make more of an effort to do so, I think it'll be there. I just haven't seen it. And if it has been there, like I watched the film, some plays, Njoku or Phantom was open in the middle of the field, either on a check down or just open, and Flacco didn't have enough time. Like the one play, I think it was Phantom was open in the middle, or Njoku. I think it was Njoku, and that was the play we had Sampson trying to go head up with Roquan Smith. You know what I mean? It's just little. We do little things that just hurt ourselves. So I'd like to see that. And again, I think the defense this week at home, I think this is a great week for. I thought Greg Newsome looked really good week 1. I thought last week he tackled well in the run game, but I wasn't impressed with some of the stuff in coverage, not just for him, but the whole unit. I think this is a week they need to bounce back and just be solid, just be sound. Like Ronnie Hickman, make your tackle on, like last week he missed that tackle in midfield on Zay Flowers, and they got that big chunk to start that half. Make your tackles. Don't let guys, run back to the balls easily and on those, extended plays. I think that won't be as effective this week because it's not Lamar you're going against. But I thought last week at times, and I watched that film. I think the D line was trying to get pressure. They lost some contain, and Lamar's so slippery getting out of the pocket. And I think our guys one-on-one downfield just kind of lost some of their guys with their speed. Zay Flowers and Devontae Walker. They were a lot faster than some of our guys. All our secondary really because Denzel was out. So, I want to see a bounce back from them. I want to see Greg Newsome from week 1 in coverage, man. Where he was really good, real sticky. He's on a contract year. You know what I mean? So this is a big year for him, and I think he's got all the capability to do so. And this is his fourth year now here. So, I think this for Greg, it's his fourth year here now.
This is his fifth year.
Or fifth year. So yeah, I mean, this is it. It's a big year for him, and you got 4 years under your belt now, and I expect him to be more of a leader now, leading by example. You know what I mean, and be in the league, taking that lead role. If Denzel's out, or even if he's out there, just showing that you can be a premier corner. Consistently in this league, which I think he has all the capabilities to do so. But I expect.
Oh yeah, he has games where he looks like one.
Yeah. I thought week 1 he was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I thought week 1 he's phenomenal. I want to see complimentary football this week. And can we see the special teams look decent? Can they just not put us in harm's way? Can we make our kicks? And can the offense finally just sustain some drives? And can we finally score over 20 points this week? It's going to be hard to do against the Packers, that defense, but I think if you, like I said, if you commit to the running a little more and run the ball more vertically, and try to make them go off balance with, mix up some different, like I said, with some sweeps, and get your quarterback a rhythm, not on, screens or anything. Let's get a rhythm on curls and check downs and bang 8 routes and stuff like that. Let's do more of those. I think we may have, the Browns just got to keep it competitive till the fourth quarter. Once you get the fourth quarter, if it's a close game, who knows what's going to happen, especially at home.
Right.
But
exactly.
It's a tough task, but I think they can take away their running game because our rush defense, I think, can hang with anybody. I think ultimately it's going to come down. If we get consistent pressure on Jordan Love, maybe create some turnovers. The Browns have not won the turnover battle since I think, last won a game, Mike, which was 9 games ago. So
yeah,
that's a long time, and they haven't had a running back rush for over 100 yards in a long time since 2023. That needs to change. So, I don't want to hear we're going back to my old system and all this and that. And we don't have a running back over 100 yards. I don't care if you're in the system from that. That's unacceptable.
No, it's not. And I agree 110%.
That's unacceptable. You're in the AFC North and you're playing in cold weather. Your formula has been run first with that system, allegedly the system we're going back to. I don't want to see Flacco throwing the ball 45 times a week. If Flacco throws the ball for more than 35 times, I think we were going to lose the game.
Yeah,
just like
I agree.
We need to be more balanced, play to our strengths, be more efficient, utilize both your tight ends, take some shots down the field. Even if you don't hit on one, send a message to the defenses. The defense, you watched Roquan Smith last week, Mike? I watched on the tape. That guy knew everything we were doing because he's a hell, you could tell he's a hell of a study rat film, and he knew everything we were doing because it's so predictable. The last 9 games we've lost, really since last year, it's been very predictable. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of adjustments the Browns have made. And so that needs to change this week. You know what I mean? Hopefully last week that loss, when they came back home, maybe they all looked themselves in the mirror. We'll see. But I don't want to see another embarrassing loss like last week at home. You know what I mean? I get it. You're going against the Packers.
That'd be so demoralizing.
Yeah, it's just like how's that good for even if you're trying to lose for the draft, allegedly. I'm just saying if that is what the theory was, that's not good. It's not good for your locker room. It's not good for the long term of the franchise. It's just not good morale. That's not a winning culture. That's not how you build one. And that's why when people bring up about Myles Garrett when you keep doing stuff like this, you open the door for that. You know what I mean? People are going to speculate. And the guy's already crushed a trade once. You don't think he'll do it again? Of course he will. He don't care. He got paid. Now he's got a no trade clause. He thinks he can get out of here and go somewhere else. He'll probably explore that option. He seemed pretty pissed after that loss last week when you listened to him in the press conference. He seems like he's getting more aggravated each week. And so I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. I hope we're celebrating a win Sunday, Mike. But I don't like where things are trending in a lot of ways right now.
I agree 110%. Well, I think that's the perfect segue into, since we allegedly are playing for the draft, let's talk about the draft.
I do want to
It
get
is
some comments
time.
real quick, if you don't mind.
Oh, we got. Oh, yeah. Feel free.
Yeah. Chantel says, "I wish they would trade Shador." You got any thoughts on that, Mike?
I mean, I don't think anybody's offered any substantial trade package. I still think they're going to want to see him at some point this season before they make any hasty decisions. They're going to want to put game film out there.
She says we need to see the rookie quarterbacks, why they draft them if they won't play them. Flacco is slow and old.
I agree, and I think we will. It might be sooner rather than later. I think it might be. Joseph was saying after the London game. I think that would be fair, and that's kind of initially what we were saying, because that would be the Week 5 game, which would be the rookie starting, and I think that's a kind of what we were saying about like Week 5, Week 6.
Yeah, I think they need up until then. I think you want to get them prepared, but I also think too, like I said, I think something a lot of people you won't hear about often. But I've heard two coaches and former, two coaches and two former players. One's a current coach and a former player. Bring this up recently about with left-handed quarterbacks, because Dylan Gabriel's in the bullpen. You kind of got to flip your offense in a way. Like that's an adjustment for the receivers, an adjustment for everybody, because everything's flipped from a right to a left. A lot of people you won't hear that often, but if you go ask anybody in football, I don't care, high school on up, they'll tell you it's an adjustment. I've talked to people all the time about it. So I think that could be part of it too. I think they're probably slowly integrating him, Mike, to that. You know what I mean? Because that will be an adjustment. And I think the playbook with Dylan's gonna be a lot different. You'll be able to do a little different things. Here's what I do want to see though, Mike. And I meant to bring this up. I want to see Dylan Gabriel still put out there in certain packages and like plays and stuff this week.
Yeah,
leading up to it. Why not use more in the red zone if we get down there? Why not use him more on short down? You know what I mean? Why not use his ability to run a little bit? Like I would mix it up. I'd get him out there, just slow plays, like just use him in certain packages, just keep defenses off balance. Throw an adjustment, throw a wrinkle out there for once. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind that at all. Or even if Joe looks bad in the first half, put Dylan in the second half. What do you got to lose? You know?
Yeah, I agree with you on that. The Browns are not beating the Packers, not with Joe as quarterback. What do you think of this, Mike? Real quick, because I know you want to get to the mock draft, but do you think Pickett really was their guy all along?
I think it's kind of been reported that they.
But I want to throw this out there. I heard the stats today this week about all the overall attempts thrown in camp, and it was Gabriel had like 100 something, Flacco had like 90 something. But before Pickett got hurt, he was getting more reps than all of them.
Yeah.
So I'm curious what you think of that.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that Pickett was initially the guy to be the bridge quarterback. I mean, younger, has some wheels, doesn't throw a lot of picks, safe quarterback, kind of perfect for reinstituting what Stefanski wants to do. But bro got hurt, and he couldn't do anything in training camp, so they had to make a decision, I don't blame them for going this route, and I don't blame them for trading Kenny. I mean, what else are you going to do? You can't start a guy who basically missed all at camp. That doesn't make any sense. It's his first year in the system.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I would use Dylan more this week though. In packages, like I said. I keep thinking about that. I agree. But yeah, no, I wanted to ask you that though, because I heard that brought up this week. But because I want to add to that point real quick though, Mike, about the Dylan thing I just thought of before I lose track of it, if you don't mind. Thank you for answering that question. I want to know what you thought about the Pickett thing, because I've heard people talking about that.
Oh no, I agree. I totally think at this point Kenny Pickett was the guy. We're supposed to be.
No, I agree. Yeah, I totally agree. But I think with Pickett and mainly with Gabriel, they're a lot more mobile than Flacco. This is the point I was trying to think of. Why I brought that back up again. I think they just seem really limited in the play calling with Flacco. You know, I don't think he's. When I hear a coach that was on the staff 2 years ago saying they're not calling the same plays, that tells me that, you know, with the new offensive staff now, they're not trying to do the same stuff they were doing 2 years ago. They want to do something
they're
else.
trying to add to it.
Yeah, but I don't even think they're adding. I think they're just doing a whole different philosophy in general. I think they're trying to do some new stuff, newer, you know what I mean, with Tommy Reese and stuff. I think, but if you look at Tommy Reese though, at Alabama, he had a much different quarterback than Joe Flacco. He had guys who were a lot more mobile. You know what I mean?
Right.
Kenny Pickett is a lot more mobile. Not to say a lot, but he's more mobile than Joe Flacco at this state of his career. Dylan Gabriel's a lot more mobile. So, you know, that's why I said, why not use them a little more in or not him, he's not here, but why not use Gabriel a little more in packages? And like I said earlier, run the ball at them vertically because as slow as our linemen are right now, Mike, and old, do you want them pulling out on the perimeter a whole lot like we have been as much?
No.
Because those, as you go watch the film, those runs have been getting absolutely blown up because we're too slow to get out the perimeter. We couldn't execute a screen last week because poachers couldn't get out there fast enough. So, you know, you know what I mean? It is what it is. Run the ball more than vertically and use Gabriel more in certain packages to run down the outside, maybe like an RPO, you know what I mean, down the red zone or third and 1 or whatever, and then use more of the jet sweeps. Keep them off balance. And that's why, to answer the question you just answered, why I brought it up, because I really think he was their guy. Because when I look at their offense and what I think they're trying to do, it was not built for Joe Flacco, in my opinion.
No. And, you know, they want to run a lot more, you know, option. They want to run some pistol. They want to run a lot of bootleg, and they just can't do that with Joe Flacco. Too old and slow. And, like, you're limiting not just your playbook, but just any options that you have with a regular offensive playbook.
Yeah. Wally says, I'm here.
Wally!
If Joe keeps throwing interceptions, how is he their best choice to win? Miles is getting tired of wasting his career. I don't know if they're is winning really the main agenda right now, though, Mike. I don't know.
I don't think so. It's evaluation, valuing a lot of young players. I mean, think about it this way. How often under Stefanski did young players have such a significant role as starters in the team? He's never really done that before.
Not more than this year's the first year, yeah. Definitely not a quarterback.
No, not a quarterback, not running backs, not, you know. Generally, he likes to, even first round picks, like he likes to kind of like, you know, sneak in over time. So I think that's kind of telling. If, like, you know, you have so many rookies playing such a huge role immediately, kind of tells you what they think of the season and what their goals are moving forward.
Yeah. Browns lose by 30, says Teflon Don.
Definitely a possibility.
He said, why are Browns fans defending Stefanski? He's a bum. Explain how the Saints scored 20 points last week. And she said, because the Saints had a competent head coach and Kellen Moore. How you doing? He said. How y'all doing? How you doing, Wally? Good to see you, brother.
We're doing great, Wally.
But let's get to it, Mike. I know you're most excited about. Take it away.
I'm so excited. The way too early mock draft. Behold, PFF. So we're going to do 3 rounds because, frankly, while I know a good amount about this upcoming draft class, I have not sunk my teeth so deeply because, again, we're in week 2. We're just doing this for fun and where we're at in week 2 and where we think the Browns' heads are at. So go ahead and select the Browns, who it appears have the first overall pick.
There we go.
Oh. Did you select 3 rounds?
Did I or did I not?
I don't think you did.
Son of a gun. My bad, people. It's getting a little late. All right, there we go. All right, now we're ready to rock. You ready to roll?
The screen isn't being shared.
Is it not shared?
Technical difficulties.
What is going on? Okay, give me 1 second. But Mike,
folks, during this technical oh yeah, that's perfect. There we go.
Sorry about that. All right, go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick, during the technical difficulties, if you're new here, thank you so much for joining us. Please like, subscribe, and share this content as you enter the studio. But
I wanted to ask you this, though, before we start.
Yeah.
Who is your top 5 college quarterbacks coming out in the draft right now?
As of right now, Drew Aller, my number 1, the prince that was promised.
The Madonna
Penn
kid.
State. Number 2, Garrett Nussmeier, LSU. His size is the only thing keeping him from number 1. I like him a lot. He's come a long way from last year. I think he would be a good pickup. Number 3, this might come as a shock, Fernando Mendoza.
Whoa.
Fernando Mendoza has been amazing.
Okay.
Big arm, super athletic. I'm starting to come around on this kid. Number 4, another local Cleveland guy, but in a slightly more successful program. We have Dante Moore, Oregon.
Okay.
And lastly,
him and Gerard be going head to head next week at the Whiteout in Penn State.
Oh, I'm going to be watching very closely. And lastly, but certainly not least, and this might come as a shock because he had a horrible game last week, but I'm still going to put him on here. Lenoris Sellers, South Carolina.
So Cade Klubnik's not in your top 5.
No, he is not. He has fallen off. He has been so bad.
And I'll talk about the Arch Manning thing real quick. I don't know what's going on with Arch Manning. When he had those 10 incompletions in a row, whatever it was last week, I've heard people say this week that have watched him and say he looks like he's hurt. There's something wrong. His mechanics are. This year he's throwing the ball. When he throws the ball this year, it's more of a 3/4 high compared to last year when it was different. He just doesn't look the same. There's something seems wrong with his mechanics, and I don't know if Sark changed his mechanics or if he's actually hurt. But there's something weird going on there.
Yeah.
And when they asked Sark about it this week, Sark was just kind of like, nothing's going on. It is what it is. But I don't. Something doesn't seem right there to me. I know I've heard some quarterback guys think there's something wrong with his pec, or maybe something wrong in his arm, and he just looks like he's hurt. His mechanics are not the same as they were last year.
Yeah,
and I think some of it too is the competition he played in high school wasn't the greatest. And I've heard people say, like scouts say, if his name wasn't Manning, he probably was just be your typical 4-star guy, which is still pretty high. And I think he does have some talent, but I think there's something going on there that I don't know if we're getting the full story on.
I'm willing to give Arch Manning.
Hasn't looked good. I want to see how he looks by November.
Yeah, and I'm here. I'm willing to give Arch Manning the smallest bit of grace because I'm right there with those critics. Like if his name was Arch Johnson or Smith, like bro might have been pulled by now, right?
Possibly. I mean, I think something's not right there. Something's not right with his arm. His mechanics are. Something's not right.
Yeah, I think he's hurt. I think he's hurt. That's why I'm willing to give him grace. I've watched. I mean, there's been a bunch of close-ups of him throwing, and he looks visibly in pain as he's throwing the ball. And also, if he's playing that injured and we don't know about it, shame on the Longhorns coaching staff for letting that young man go out there that injured.
Well, and the problem is too, they don't have a backup quarterback available, and that's their fault. That's when you get into now you're forcing him out there if he's hurt.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying shame on the Longhorns if that's the case. That university, that football program should be ashamed if that's the case. Because you're not only hurting your program, you're hurting this young man's future. And also maybe doing irreparable damage. Who knows? I don't know the extent of the injury.
He's confident. I think it started off as physical, whether it was mechanically or hurt or he's injured or both, because maybe his mechanics are off because he's injured. But I think that's starting to lead to mental. And hopefully, I hope the kid turns around. I wish the kid success, and I hope he turns it around. And I think he can. He's still got a lot of really good athleticism, and he said, y'all face my guy Micah this week. He ain't your guy anymore, too, and he's on the right. He's in the Green Bay now, buddy. I know you're a Cowboys fan, but he ain't there anymore. He's still your guy, though.
Cowboys absolutely stole a win last week. Oh, it's thievery, dog. They had
Dallas.
to steal Dallas had to steal the win from Russell Wilson and company.
He don't play for them boys anymore.
No, he don't. Y'all need a
Good to see it,
GM.
too.
Y'all need a GM tune in. I'm sorry. Y'all need to put Jerry in a home. I mean, don't, because it's entertaining. It's all entertaining. The Cowboys are like the one team. The Cowboys are like that drunk guy at the bar that sometimes has like really cool like facts or takes, but like then he'll say some out of pocket shit, and you're like, what? You know, and then you kind of want to like go to a different place. That's the Dallas Cowboys.
Good to see you too. Hope you're doing well, brother. But calf season coming around the corner. We're in September, so it's coming. It's crazy in a month before basketball season, Mike. Damn. But anyways, on to the draft. I know we had Drew Aller. You said he's number 1 for you. I like Drew Aller a lot right now. I think he still has some ways to grow. You know, I saw his quarterback coach at week 1 at the game at high school, Brad Mailer. Shout out to him. Works a lot of guys, top quarterbacks all over. And I think Drew, I've watched him in high school. Medina was a baller, was a lead 11 guy, had a lot of great raw athleticism and talent, big arm, 6'5", I think 230, big kid. Wants to play for the Browns too, Mike, which you brought up before the season when he was asked about it recently and said he'd love to. I think in terms of just raw prospects, we'll see how he plays out the rest of the year, but I think there's a lot to like there. It's things. If you have a good coaching staff, you can take him and, develop him to the NFL quarterback you want him to be. I think he can be that. So he said, who's more dysfunctional, Cowboys or Browns?
We're tied right now, brother. As of late, I mean, here, I like our drafts recently. Like, I don't know. Like, at least we paid Miles, bro. Like, I don't know. I mean, here... Well, long term, it's been the Browns by far, but
has it though? You talking about more dysfunctional? Who's been more dysfunctional long term? Oh, okay.
Yeah, long term dysfunction. Yeah, no, long term dysfunction has been the Browns for sure. Now I just need
the Browns.
Yeah, in recent history, the Jerry Jones stuff, man, it's just.
I'm gonna say the Browns. Because at least the Cowboys have had more playoff appearances. Have the Cowboys won their division too recently? In the recent years, like in 10 years?
I think Dak's first just playoff run, and then he might have won it a couple times after that, probably.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the
Ezekiel Elliott years.
There's a lot of things in the Browns I don't like internally, and I have major questions about that. A lot of people seem to not want to talk about, but that's kind of weird. But I just think... I think I would say the Browns. I don't trust the Browns in a lot of ways. He said, shout out to Snyder. He said the Browns, but it's not dysfunctional. It's tradition.
I like that.
It is. And I just think I don't like the way some things are set up. I don't like some of the things I've heard behind the scenes of what's going on in recent years with Stefanski and having autonomy, and just there's a lot of things that people know behind the scenes what's going on that I don't think is long-term good, personally. I would say the Cowboys, because at least with Jerry, I mean, it's not, I would say it's not the most functional situation, but I think it's a little better than here, because I think the coach at least has the autonomy to coach the team the way he wants. At least it seems. So I would just go with that, just off of that. He said, don't want to get you off top, but can I get y'all thoughts on playing the young QBs this season when y'all get a chance, though? We talked about it a little bit earlier. I said give it a couple more weeks. Gabriel's the next guy in the bullpen. I said give it a couple more weeks. I think they're already kind of tuning it up now, probably to get him integrated more, especially with the guys, because I think a lot of it too is, he's a left-handed quarterback, so a lot of what they do in their offense are going to have to flip to the opposite because it's different. He's left-handed. Flacco's right-handed. So I think some stuff they'll do opposite. I think it'll be an adjustment for the receivers as well, the way the ball comes out in certain routes and stuff, which is what a lot of NFL guys and quarterbacks talk about all the time with left-handed quarterbacks. It is an adjustment. It is different. It's a real thing. So I think that's part of it. And he's a rookie. He's learning more still. I think if I said after the London week, which I think is week 5, right? Or it's coming up.
Yeah. It's
October.
next week's game.
Oh, it's next week. Damn, already.
I think it's next week's game.
I thought it was October. Yeah, that's against. Let me.
Am I wrong? Wait, no. Next week is the Lions.
Yeah, next week's the London game's the 5th.
Okay, so it's in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. So yeah, October. So I think, and then because after that week they play on the road at Pittsburgh. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna change mine. I'm gonna say after that Pittsburgh game, because after that Pittsburgh game, they're at home against the Dolphins, who's not a good team. That's a perfect scenario to put a rookie quarterback out there. I'm gonna say the Dolphins game, October 19th, a month from tomorrow. I think that's when we'll see the rookie quarterbacks. They're not gonna put them out there against the Steelers.
Right.
It'll be Flacco the next 4 games, and then it'll be Dylan Gabriel by the Dolphins game. That's my prediction.
I'll agree with that.
He said, I'll be tuning in. Hey, Tune, I'll be joining YouTube October 13th. I'm getting that mic. Let us know, Wally, and we'll put your channel up here, brother, and get some subs going, and we'll have you up here anytime, brother. Hello, Mom. Say hello, everyone.
Hi, Joy.
Talk about the Cavs. I'll be ready. I can't wait for that. And yeah, so Mike, let's get to it. The mock draft.
Let's do it. Browns first overall pick.
Now, Drew Aller, who I know is your number one. Now they have Arch Manning 3rd, but I know they have Nussmeier 6. They have Lenore Sellers 9. They have Drew Aller at 12. Your next pick, Mike, is at 11. Caleb Downs right here, number 1 is the Browns definitely need a safety. I
would take Caleb Downs first overall in this situation.
And let the guy fall to you. And
hope that he did.
You got Garrett Nussmeier, you got Lenore Sellers, and you have Drew Aller still available.
Drew Aller.
Perfect.
The prince that was promised comes home.
Please come save us, Drew. Lenore
Interesting situation.
Now, so you
offensive line.
You do have receiver Mekhi Lemon. Center Connor Liu, but I like Whippler. I think Whippler could be your long-term center. You have the best tackle on the boards, Austin Barber from Florida, Isaiah World from Oregon. You have receiver Carnell Tate from Ohio State also available.
You know, in this situation, you know, I'd probably want to go to receiver, especially if I don't think Mekhi Lemon's going to be there realistically when the draft comes around. I think he's a first-round talent. Same thing with Austin Barber. Austin Barber is not going to be there. He's one of the best tackles in the entire draft. But
I think Lemon could be there because this is the 33rd pick. I mean, we've seen guys fall out of the first round barely in recent years that we thought were first.
Right. If I'm picking for
Carnell, I mean, who could be? He has first round talent.
Right. If it's kind of hard, right? Because the offensive line does need rebuilt from the ground up. But if you think you can get a serviceable tackle with KT Livingston, maybe at right, or maybe you can sign a free agent tackle, maybe they go that route, and maybe they draft a receiver here. So I'm going to say Mekhi Lemon.
Okay, Mekhi Lemon. Next pick is 65. There we go. Lenore Sellers is still there.
Austin Barber's still there. That's not real, but yeah, Austin Barber.
I mean, if he's there, we'll take it. Let's see what his 6'6", 314, big boy. I like that. Any analysis on him? No, not yet. But Austin Barber. So tackle, though. You're saying tackle is what you target primarily.
Yeah, or offensive line. Here's the thing. Austin Barber.
Tackle.
Yeah, Austin Barber is going to have to lose weight if he wants to play tackle at the NFL level. I don't think... But here's the thing. Austin Barber has violent hands, loves to fight.
Was he 315? He's 315. I don't think he's that far off. I think he's about right.
Not terribly.
6'6". That's about with a lot of... I mean, the guys on the Eagles line, they're about all, 6'6", 300 plus pounds.
Right. I see Austin Barber as more of a guard, I guess is what I'm trying to put at.
Okay.
But, what the guard situation is going to look like, I think Austin Barber could be your immediate starter at right tackle, which is going to be something you have to address. You have to. I love Jack Conklin. He's a great player when he's out there, but he's just not out there, man. He's not going to be out there this Sunday, it looks like. He missed half of last season. He missed half of the season before. It's
Put
time
up and down.
It's time to move on from Jack Conklin. And it's a shame to say, but it's just time. And you hope DeJuan Jones continues to improve. But
I'll tell you what, if this was the draft right here, I'd be thrilled.
I'd be.
I mean, Caleb Downs alone makes me excited because, I said last year when most important positions on your field, I think defensively a lot that we didn't have was 3 tech, right? And I think when you have that kind of penetration at the middle, taking away the run, it's such a dominant force. We've seen that. I think Mason's only going to get better. I think he's helped this defense already. But you need a safety. That's why it's called safety. You need somebody back there you can rely on that's a ball hawk and cover 1/3 of the field or half the field even. And I think when I watch the Browns a lot in the All-22, you just see that whole lot opposite of Delpit. Somebody who can really, cover one-on-one, man-to-man, and, just absolute dog. That's what Caleb Downs is. Great leader, great kid, absolute dog, freak athlete, can do everything. Can play. You put him down in the box, put him out, play out in free safety. He can cover. He can play man. He can do everything. There's no weakness really in his game. I think he'll be just fine, and he can be a punt returner too for you.
Yeah,
I think that'd be an excellent pick. Personally, he's probably going to be the. It's too early to say, but I think he's probably the most overall. Will be the most talented guy in this draft, possibly. I mean, the 2 best players in college football, a lot of people, is Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs. So, and they're on the same team. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
That's all we got. So there's again, Caleb Downs, safety, pick 1. Pick 11, Mike went with Drew Aller, quarterback. We both like right now. And I like the Drew Aller pick. You want to talk about a little bit more, Mike, before we get out of here? Just why Drew Aller for you?
Yes.
And go ahead.
One moment. I'm going to sneeze. There we go. Why Drew Aller?
Go ahead.
He's a big body, tall, big arm, has done a lot with the least against good competition. Now, he had Tyler Warren, and he had an excellent run game with Nick Singleton and Katron Allen at Penn State. Tyler Warren was one of the best tight ends in college football last year. However, his receivers are bad. His offensive scheme at Penn State is bad. They stayed in games basically out of heroics from Drew Aller. Great passing. He can move with his legs. He's an athletic freak. And also he's a hard dude to bring down. I think Drew Aller has all of the tools necessary to be a successful quarterback at the NFL level. I think he's a smart player. I think in West Coast style offense, he can be plug and play immediately, but also do all the things that this coaching staff wants to do with a rookie quarterback. He can do pistol set. He can do read option. He can do all the things you want him to do, and he's the perfect kind of clay to mold in the NFL. He's done the most with least. He's been incredibly impressive with it, and I think that's the biggest thing, because you look at a guy like Garrett Nussmeier, who I think he's my second favorite quarterback in the class, a little bit shorter, but great arm, great instincts. He's at LSU, though. LSU always has a great offense, always has great receivers. Same thing with a lot of these other guys. They have just better weapons. Drew Aller has had no weapons outside of a tight end and 2 running backs, and as a quarterback, that only helps you so much. So that's where I'm at with Mr. Aller.
Yeah, I agree with all those things. He's always been intriguing to me with the Browns, because I feel like the Browns, Mike, they need to draft somebody. Not only that, I like the part that it is. I do like the part a little bit that he's a local kid, that he wants to play here.
Yeah.
But I think somebody that fits their climate, fits who they are, and somebody who I think could do a little bit of everything, but he's a big guy, bigger body. I think we need a taller receiver, or not receiver, taller quarterback than what we've had in recent years. I think that's, I get like a guy like Baker Mayfield I can live with, because I think he can get it done, which he's showing now. But I like Drew because he's just physical. He's big. You know what I mean? He can shed. I've seen him shed tackles in the pocket, extend plays. He can run for his size. He's got a big arm. He can do a little bit of everything, and I think that's why he's so intrigued. I think he just kind of fits who we are, fits what we need. You know what I mean? I think that's I think fit is matters. You know what I mean? Like Josh Allen went to the perfect place, Buffalo, because cold weather, he could run. He's a big physical guy. He's got a big arm. He can throw it if he needs to around the lot all game, or he can run if he needs to. I mean, he can do whatever it takes to get a win in Buffalo on a cold weather. You know what I mean? Especially late in the year in the playoffs when you're going to be trying to win in advance or leaving, November. If you're playing meaningful November, December football, that matters. So I think a guy like him would be a great fit. I think he's a guy you can mold and develop. He's a really good kid from what I know behind the scenes. Like I said, works with Brad Mailer as quarterback coach, a local guy here, and they work all off season. Everything I know, he's a great kid. I watched Matt Medina, was very dominant, and just really stood out ahead of his competition when he was there. You could just see it back then. Just he was different than everybody else, playing his position, especially at that time, and in the area. So I like him a lot. I think he'd be a really good pick. I get kind of Josh Allen vibes with him, Mike, because
A little bit, yeah.
I don't know if he's as talented as Josh Allen, but he's pretty damn talented. You know what I mean? I don't know if he has
Right.
we'll find out at the pro day. I can't wait for his pro day when that comes. But he just kind of like Josh Allen was a guy who honestly he was under the radar, but he was at Wyoming. You look at his stats sometimes, wasn't always, the greatest. He was at Wyoming playing against that competition. But then when you watch him throw the ball, just saw the intangibles and just kind of saw his, his raw athleticism and physicality, you were just kind of like, damn, this guy could be something great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was a perfect guy who, if we get him in the right place to develop him, he could become something great, and that's what he became. I think Drew Aller can be similar, personally.
Yeah, I agree.
So there you have it, folks. Way too early.
Way too early.
Super duper early mock draft.
But folks, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We all love you very much. If you are new and you're tuning in, please like, subscribe, and share. This has been the Professional Fan. We also do a game reaction on Sunday where we talk about mostly the Browns game reaction, but we also cover any other interesting things happening around the NFL. Joseph, would you also like to tell them why they should like, subscribe, and share?
You guys need to like, subscribe, and share because Mike said so. That's why.
Exactly. Damn straight. Now you're getting it.
But no, yeah, I mean, really, yeah. But no, I mean, any subscription doesn't go unnoticed. Honestly, we've started from the bottom up, and we're very grateful for all the support we've had. Chantel, all the people that come in here and watch every week, and Tune In Sports, obviously, we have on the show. Great guy. Go subscribe to his channel for Caps content. Wally, Humble, and thoughts and prayers to Humble's family right now. We're praying, thinking about your brother. Not going to get into it, but Humble's fine. But we'll think about Humble tonight and pray for him and his family.
Yep.
But everybody that tunes in and watches every week, Teflon Don, all our loyal subscribers since day one. We appreciate all you guys and love
Absolutely.
all you guys. You guys have been awesome. Road to 1K, that's right. And Mike's getting a tattoo 1K. So you better start subscribing right now. And we're gonna have a lot of fun here. You know what I mean? We're just getting started. A lot of what you've seen from us guys is just kind of just the beginning of what we're going to be doing on the show for the long term, where we ultimately want to be. And you guys have kind of watched Mike and I kind of mature and grow up before your eyes. You've been here since that long ago, back 3 years ago. So it's kind of cool, and we're just getting started. And yeah, we can't wait. We're happy you guys are right along the way with us.
Absolutely, I couldn't have said it better. But folks, thank you again so much for joining. We love you very much. And as always, please stay professional.